It's the 7th of December. This is Rabbi Furst, Mishna Berura.
Yeah. And I'm switching computers now.
Well, you use a different computer for each year? What does he do? A different computer for each?
I think his wife needs to do something.
Oh, I thought maybe he has a third one for his emails. I don't know. My pals. Okay.
Oh, it's Barry. I think it's a good one. If I'm not mistaken. Wow. Yeah. I think it's a Gemara in Chulin Dav Zayin Amid Bay Aleph. Oh, let me check. Chulin Zayin Aleph. Hold it. Is it Chulin? Chulin.
71.
Chulin, Dav Chulin Zayin Aleph Amid Aleph.
Oh, 7.
Yeah. Right. The Gemara says is talking about the behemoths of the tzaddikim. The Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair, Hanukah Azul, the Pidyon Shvur. Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair was going to for mitzvah Pidyon Shvuyim. Pagabe Nagina Denari came to a riverbank. Armalei Nagia Cholakli Miamecha Avroloach. He said that the river should split for me, that I could pass through. Armalei, the river said back to him, Ata Holech Lasos Ratzon Koinai. Says, look, the river said to him, look, you're going to do the will of your creator, and I'm doing the will of my creator. Right? Ata Safik Osa, Safik Iyata Osa. You, there's a suffix whether you're going to be successful or not. Anivada Yosa, I'm definitely doing the Ratzon of Hashem by not splitting. Amalei im. So Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair said, if you don't split, I'm going to make a gezer on you that you won't have any water at all. You split. Okay. So he said that he split it for the Arab as well. Cholak first, he split with the Arab. Cholak lay say split. Come on, Nafish. Okay, I don't see clearly that he got stolen from. It doesn't say anything. Maybe there's a medrash. Maybe they get. I'm not sure. Don't know. But it's on Dab Zayin, Amid Aleph and Chulin, if you want to take a look at that thing.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so let's switch over to. Did you get the document I sent about the oils, for what to do with the oils, and the wicks from the menorah, from leftover from Hanukah?
The one that starts with Paske to Shuvos.
Piskei Teshuvos, right? Piskei Teshuvos. This is like a commentary on the Mishna Berura, right?
Yeah, I sent that out to everybody.
Thank you very much. Okay, yeah, who would like to read? We can hopefully finish this up before we're done today. Any volunteers, or City or Barry who would like to read?
I'll read. Give Lou a break. He's been working hard today.
Thank you, Eliezer. Appreciate that.
Sif Daled.
Shulchan
Aruch. Anoter biyom hashmini min hashemen v'chulu. Somebody has leftover oil from the 8th day. Osalo medura v'sorfo b'fnei atzmo shahare huksel mitzvaso. Then you take it and you make a bonfire or a torch out of it, and you burn it by itself because it was set aside for because they had been set aside to perform a mitzvah. The Aflaneros Shabbos o Beneros
Base Knesset.
Beis Knesset, okay. Lo Yishtamish Behem Kihuksula the Hukdusho Leneros Hanukah, because they've been set aside and made kodesh like the Neros of Hanukkah. V'chein hadin bepsilos shenishtaru, and similarly for the wicks that are left over, mineros Hanukkah from the Hanukkah lights, Jeish l'sofrin v'lo l'zorkin. They need to be burned and not thrown out. Yesh nogim lahatzniim.
Is that even if it's burned for more than half an hour?
So that the Mr. Brewer discussed. Let me just review the Mr. Brewer with you. That's again in Kaf Reish Ayin Zayin. Kaf Reish Ayin Zayin, the Mr. Brewer said that it said Minish Shemen Hatzora. The Hainu Shalo Noten Tchila Rak Shir Hadlaka. The oil that remains that was necessary, meaning he was talking about a case where he only put in there exactly the amount of time for the hadlaka. It kivsa be'emsa, and it went out in the middle. So that means you didn't finish up using the oil that was supposed to be burned for the obligatory half an hour's time of burning. But no sin, it was left over. He says this is the answer to your question, Lou. If you put a lot of oil in the candle, and the rest, if you put a lot of oil in, right, and there's leftover from the excess oil, then it's mutter l'katchila, right, to use that oil.
And what about the wicks?
Oh, so the wicks, it's not really possible that there's extra. I mean, because the oil is corresponding to a time of burning, but the wicks don't really correspond so exactly to a time of burning.
Well, if the wick burned for more than a half an hour, can you throw it out?
Right.
Well, Louis is saying don't throw it out. He says you should burn it up.
Right. I'm saying, does that apply only if the wick didn't burn for the half an hour? And then therefore, if it burns for more than a half an hour, you can throw it out? That's my question.
Yeah.
Yes. See, that I understand your question, but it's different because the wick you don't have it's something which is used. The wick is something which is used for the actual mitzvah. Well, they actually try and discriminate between the oils and the wicks. Because there's not a burning time for the wick. It's a wick and it's a wick. It just remains a wick that it always was. So it's not that it loses its kedusha after the half an hour of burning time. So the wicks are a bit more difficult to define in terms of a time which permits them.
So I have these little cups that I buy a box of cups that have oil and wicks in them, and I burn them I use them every day. Now I have 8 of them from the last night, but there's also the other 28 from the previous days that I've thrown out. Do I have to go fish them out of the trash and pull out the wicks and burn them?
No, I mean, we'll see. Let's see further. But if it could be that it's enough to put them in, you probably wrap them up in a bag, or when you put it into the trash, you probably wrapped it up into a bag. It was a bag that was put into the trash, so it's not directly going into the trash. Let's see. We'll see what he said. Let's see what he says about this.
Okay. I guess. Okay. V'kein hadin b'tfilos shenishtaru minors Hanukah sheish sofrin v'lo lezarkin. And similarly for the wicks that were used for the Hanukkah menorah, you should burn them and not throw them away. Vishnogim lahatzniim vilasofrin b'streifas chametz be'erev Pesach. And there are those whose practice is to hide them and burn them when you burn the chametz erev Pesach. V'af shekatzvu haposkim kan, and the poskim also right here. Shein laniach ad l'shana haba. You should not leave them over for the next year. The chashinin, the takal, you might come to ruin them. Shema yadliku bahem litzarko b'meshach hashana, because you might want to burn them for your needs sometime during the year. Efsher da'ad.
Tekala means like
Pesach.
maybe Shemet Tekala, maybe there'll be a mishap and he might misuse them for his own
Right.
needs.
Esher da'ad erev Pesach lo chayshi lakach. But on erev Pesach, we're not worried about this.
Right. I mean, until Erev Pesach, according to those who save the the oils and wicks until Erev Pesach, since it's only a normal year, it would be again. We're in Teves, right? So we have Teves, and then you have Shvat,
Shvat
and then you
Adar
have
Nisan.
Adar, and then a half a month of Isser. So that's like 3.5 months. So they're not concerned that you might make a mistake and forget to use them for your own purposes within a 3.5 months time. That's what he's saying. Yeah.
Okay. V'od the bedoros ha'achonim, in the later generations, ein klal harigilos these tamish v'hem shuv lahadlaka. People did not use these wicks anymore.
Right. We don't. We have a Baruch Hashem, a shefer bracha of all kinds of different things. So we're not scrupulous about the things that we threw out. We threw out a lot of things. So we're not used to keeping wicks. We don't even use, most people, unless it's for Shabbos candles, we don't use wicks at all at any time.
V'od, and also ki hashemen shemishtayr b'derech klal, since the oil that is generally left over, hula achar shadliku neiros chatzi shah. This is after the candles are burned for half an hour. Umedina the Shulchan Aruch lecha ba kedusha, and according to the din of the Shulchan Aruch, there's no kedusha on this oil anymore. V'rak mechumros ha'achronim, and it's only through the chumros of the achronim who that we would be worried about it. Kivin shlo husna behedja, because he did not make it specific Tanai verbally.
Meaning he didn't make that specific verbal statement at the beginning of Hanukah that anything's going to be left over would be used for his own purposes. Right.
Okay. L'chein mekil hatzniu ad erev Pesach. Therefore, meko to put them aside until erev Pesach. Mihu ein lisrof alev es hachometz. We don't use these to burn the chametz. The also hanos misrefer, because it is also to benefit from their burning. El manichim al ha'etzim shebahem srofen hachemetz. So we put them on the wood that we're using to light to burn the chametz. So you have a fire that the chametz is burning in, and you can put these wicks into the fire, but we don't use these wicks to light the fire.
They're not going to be. Don't make them the main body of the fire, which is the burning
Right.
of the chametz.
Amnam Rabin Noagim Lisrof Miyad Biyom Ches Chanukah. Therefore, there are many people who are knowing to burn them immediately on the 8th day of Chanukah, after Shacharis, b'Berura b'fnei Atzu, in a bonfire by itself, or a torch by itself, by themselves.
Right, so even though you are permitted to keep it till every Pesach, there are those who are knowing to burn it yesterday. There was in my neighborhood, someone was telling me that the fire department was called because the people could see from the street that there was fire coming out of someone's window, and they tried to get the attention of the people who live in the apartment, and they were banging on the door. They couldn't get anybody to open up the door. And so they called the fire department, and lo and behold, they were burning their wicks and oils in the kitchen windowsill. So if a person's going to do that, he has to take precautions, not only that he does it in a safe way, but also that he does it in a way that's not going to draw attention and alarm to his fire. Yeah,
But it sounds like if you made the condition, then you don't have to burn them.
right. Now that this is the conditional statement helps with the oil, but what you're asking about with the wicks, what you're asking about with the wicks is a little bit different. Because in the way I see it, I don't know if it helps to make a conditional statement for the wicks because they're going to be remaining in any event. But since we don't really see if you look there, the Mechaber doesn't mention anything about the wicks. He only mentions about the shemen, right?
Right.
The shemen. Right. So, if a person, so I would say that if a person wants to burn them, he should burn them. If he wants to save them for Erev Pesach, he should save them for Erev Pesach. If the person doesn't want to, it would be enough if you double bag them. If you have the wicks or those little cups, right, with the little tubes and the little wicks that you have in there. If you double bag it, put it in one nylon bag and another nylon bag, and then it's enough. If you could even at that point probably put it directly into the garbage bin, and or you could leave it on the side of the garbage bin and someone else will take it and put it into the garbage bin. So that would probably be also okay. There's not really that much mention about the wicks. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Any other questions about Hanukah? Guess we can more or less come to the conclusion of Hanukah for this year.
The next year we get to do it all over again.
That's right. Mirz Hashem, we can do it all over again next year.
I was just thinking that philosophically speaking, there is another difference between the oil and the war, and that is that we're doing the oil. Hashem did the miracle of the war, but the miracle of the oil is something that Hashem is facilitating it, of course, but it's something that we are doing. The oil did not have to be, the oil did not have to be pure or tahor,
Right.
because of various halachic reasons. And the underlying principle, I think, here is that one of the themes of Hanukah is Mahadrin min ha-Mahadrin, that we light the 8 lights we have everybody in the family. Not everybody does it, but many people have everybody in the family light a menorah. This is all going beyond, above and beyond, and that's what we're continuing for 2,000 years. Our part of it. I'm just wondering if maybe that has something to do with the distinction between the two different miracles.
Yeah, it definitely has it plays a very central part in the distinction between the two miracles. It corresponds, meaning just like we went and did things that weren't really necessary. So Kadosh Baruch Hu responded in kind that he did something that wasn't absolutely necessary, right? So definitely a correspondence with what we're doing and what the Kadosh Baruch Hu did with the miracle of the Pach Shemen.
And maybe that's also the way in which the Jews are distinguished between the Jews that we say are Jewish and the Jews that we say are not Jewish. The ones that chose to go Mihadrin min Hamahadrin are the ones that we're singling out.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. The ones that were willing to. I mean, and you see this in all times and circumstances. That the Jews, unfortunately, the Jews that sought the easy way out, if those who were looking not to fulfill their obligations, they eventually passed by the wayside. Whereas those who tried to do as best they could and fulfill their obligations, those are the ones who survived. Yeah, sure. Yeah. If anyone's a Jew, any Jew that's alive today, he can be confident and sure that he had relatives in previous generations that were most nefesh to keep Torah and mitzvahs. Because if they weren't, he wouldn't be around. It's simply the family just would have dried up. So somewhere back in previous generations, behind every one of us are Jews that were true to the Torah and to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Yeah, that's something to thank the Kadosh Baruch Hu for also. That's good. When we say the bracha in the morning, Shelo Asani Goy, what we're really saying is we're thanking Kadosh Baruch Hu that we had Jewish ancestors who were true and loyal to the Torah and its mitzvahs. It's really what we're saying there. Okay, Be'ez Hashem. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow. So tomorrow in the Halakhic Shir, we'll continue in Chelik base of the Mishnah Berura, Hilchos Birkas Kohanim, right? Base, right? And in terms of shall we return to Pirkei Avos? I think probably we'll return to Pirkei Avos. Let me see if I can't prepare something tomorrow. Get us back on track with Pirkei Avos. It's been a while, and we can try and can make some more headway in Pirkei Avos. I'll have to find out if anyone happens to remember by some shot in the dark where we might have left it off. You can give me some suggestions, but I'll try and locate more or less where we might have left off in Pirkei Avos. Okay, Mr. Shabbat.
Hey, Mayor?
Yes, Lauren.
Okay, did you get my message?
Yes, actually, Cheryl spoke to Debbie yesterday.
Okay, fine, because Debbie been trying to get a hold of her.